going to have a look at finding the perimeter of shapes, and all perimeter means is add up all the sides around the outside of the shape. So looking at question 1, I'm going to identify a side. So we've got the side I'm highlighting in blue, which is 39 millimeters. So I'm going to write down 39. Then I'm going to highlight another edge. So now I'm identifying that I've got the 52 millimeter edge that I've highlighted in green. So what we need to do is add 52 onto the 39. So I'm setting up a column addition. Now I'm going to identify another side. So we've got the 65 millimeter side, which I'm highlighting in pink. So we need to add on 65. Once you've identified every single side in the shape, if you do what I'm doing when I'm working out and highlight the edges, you should see the highlighted edges contain the entire shape. They go all the way around the perimeter, the outside of the shape. So let's add these together. So start with the units. 9 plus 2 is 11, plus 5 is 16. Let's carry the 1. Then add up the tens. So 3 plus 5 is 8, plus 6 is 14, and plus the 1 we carried is 15. Carry the 1 over. So we have 156 millimeters distance around the outside of the triangle in question 1. So let's try that again with question 2. So again, identify our first edge. So I'm going to look at the 96 centimeters. Doesn't matter which edge you choose first, you'll get the same answer no matter what you choose. So let's write down the 96. Then we've got the 86 centimeter edge. So we're going to highlight that. And we're going to add 86 onto 96. Now, I haven't highlighted every single side of the shape yet, so let's get the last side done. And we've got 71 centimeters for the last edge. So let's add on 71 centimeters. So now we've highlighted every single edge of the shape and completely contained all sides with our highlighting. Now we can add up. So units first, 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13, carry the 1. 9 plus 8 in the tens is 17, plus the 7 is 24, and plus the 1 is 25. Carry the 2. So we have 253. Now we use the same units we had in the question, so this is in centimetres. So it's 256 centimetres to go all the way around the outside of that triangle. So moving on to question 2. So we've got a 9 meter edge. So we're going to highlight that. And we're going to add on 9. And we've got a 7 meter edge. So we'll add that on, adding on 7. Now, some students might add those together and get 16, and they're going to move on. But that's not the final answer, because if you look at the shape, look at the highlighting. I haven't highlighted all the way around the edge of the shape. But the two edges I haven't highlighted don't have any measurements. Now, because this is a rectangle, what we know is that the two sides opposite each other, the top and the bottom, would both be 9 meters. So we can add on a 9 for the bottom edge. And then same for the left and right as well. If the left is 7 meters, then the right is also going to be 7 meters. Now you can color code it like I have, or you could write 7 meters on the right and 9 meters at the bottom and show all the labels to show what you're doing. The reason why we know that this is a rectangle, so this works, is that we have the right angles labelled in each corner. And if the right angles are labelled, and you've got 4 right angles, then you know it's some kind of rectangle, and the opposite sides are going to be equal to each other. So then people will save time by writing less measurements. So now we can add these up. So 9 plus 7 is 16, plus another 9 is 25, and plus 7 will give us 32. Again, it's in the same units as the question, and this question is in meters. So it's 32 meters all the way around the outside of that shape. Moving on to question 4, so we'll start off the same way. We've got an 11 meter edge, And we know the opposite edge is also going to be 11 meters because this is some sort of rectangle because there are right angles which have been labeled. So we've got 11 and we're going to add on a second 11. Now, looking at the left and right, these are also labelled 11 centimetres. So the left is 11 metres, then the right will be 11 metres as well. So we actually have two more 11s to add on. And this is a special kind of rectangle. This is a square, which is a rectangle where all the sides are the same length, which of course you know. So adding up 4 11s, that's going to give us 44, and it's in metres. Now, the way question 4 is labelled is it's labelled like a rectangle. Squares are a type of rectangle with all sides equal, but it's labelled like a rectangle. Now we look at question 5, this one is labelled like a square. Now you'll notice there's only one measurement on question 5. We've got the 100 centimetres at the top. But what do we add on to it? Well, look at the labelling, it's labelled like a square. And with squares, what we do is we label the 4 right angles, and then we label the little dashes. And what the dashes mean is that the sides are the same length. And if all 4 sides have got a dash, then that means that it is a square because squares have 4 right angles and they have 4 equal sized sides. So not only is the top 100 centimeters, the bottom is 100 centimeters, the left is 100 centimeters, and the right is 100 centimeters. So that's going to be 4 lots of 100 added together. And we know that 4 lots of 100 are going to give us 400. Then look at the units, it's in centimeters, so the answer will be 400 centimeters. So the lesson here is sometimes you have every single side labelled and you can add them all together, like the triangles in question 1 and 2. And sometimes some labels are missing, but there's clues on the diagrams that tell you what size the other sides have. For example, they're being equal to opposite sides. So let's practice our methods with the medium questions. So the same methods, but with more complicated measurements. So, for example, question 1, we've got 59.5 centimetres at the top, that's highlighted in blue. So we've got more numbers to add together. So 59.5. Adding to that, we're going to add on the 71.3 that I'm highlighting in green. And we're going to add on the 74.7, which I'm highlighting in pink. And why am I highlighting? Because now I can see that I've highlighted all the way around the shape, so I've finished and I can add the numbers together. If you didn't highlight or tick off the sides, then you might miss one out by accident. So let's add up the tenths first. 5 plus 3 is 8, and plus the 7 will give us 15, so we're going to carry the 1. Then add up the units. 9 plus 1 is 10, plus the 4 is 14, plus the 1 we carried is 15, carry the 1. So we can see there's a lot more carrying in these medium questions. Then add up the tens. So 5 plus 7 is going to give us 12. 12 plus 7 will give us 19, and the 1 we carried will give us 20, carry the 2. Decimal places need to be lined up, so our final answer is 205.5, and the units were centimetres. Moving on to question 2, so we'll pick one side to identify first, so how about the 96.1? Okay, it doesn't matter which one you identify first. So we're going to write down 96.1, and then we're going to identify another side. So we've got the 86.6 centimetres, let's add that on. And then finally, we've got the 71.9 centimetres. We've completely enclosed the shape, so we know we've got every single side, so now we can add this up. So let's add up the tenths first. So 1 plus 6 is 7, plus the 9 is 16. Let's carry the 1. Then 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 1 is 13, plus the 1 we carried is 14. Let's carry the 1. And then we've got 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 7 will give us 24. Carry the 2 over. Decimal places have to be all in a row. all lined up. And our question was in centimetres again, so we need to write down centimetres. So to go all the way around that triangle, it would be 244.6 centimetres. Moving on to question 3, now again we're starting to get quadrilaterals, four-sided shapes, and they look like these are rectangles because of the right angles. So if the top is 12.5 metres, then the bottom will also be 12.5 metres. So we've got two lots of 12.5 to add together. Then looking at the left, we've got 14.8 metres. So if the left is 14.8, the right must also be 14.8. So let's add those on. And now we can see the shapes completely enclosed, so we know we've finished. And now we can add up the numbers to see how big the shape is around the edge, around the perimeter. So tenths first, 5 plus 5 is 10, plus the 8 is 18, and plus another 8 would be 26. So we're going to carry the 2. Then out of the units, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12, plus the 2 we carried is 14, and we're going to carry the 1. And then 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 is going to give us 5. Make sure the decimal places are all lined up. And our question was in metres. It's very important to write the units. Is 54.6 metres. Moving on to question 4. So on the left, I can see we've got 121.3. So the right must also be the same measurement because this is a rectangle signified by the right angles. So we're going to add together a 121.3 to another 121.3. Then we see the top is 96.6, so the bottom must also be 96.6. So we're going to add those on as well. Ensure all the tenths are lined up, the tens and units are lined up as well. Easy mistake will be lining up the nines in the hundreds column and getting it wrong that way. We've completely enclosed the shape, so now we can add together all of our numbers. So tenths first, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 6 is 12, plus 6 is 18. So write down the 8 and carry the 1. Then we'll add up the units. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 6 is 8, and 8 plus 6 will give us 14, plus the 1 we carried will give us 15. Carry the 1. The tens column, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 9 is 13, plus another 9 is 22, plus the 1 we carried is 23. Carry the 2. Then the hundreds column, 1 plus 1 plus 2 will give us 4. Ensure that the decimal places are lined up. And then look at the units. This was in centimetres, so we're going to write centimetres at the end. So the answer is 435.8 centimetres. Moving on to question 5. Now we only have one measurement, which is the 10.8, but we can see that this is a square. All the sides are the same length. So the base is 10.8, the left is 10.8, and the right is 10.8. So we can add together for 10.8. Another alternative is you could actually do 10.8 multiplied by 4, and it'll get you the same answer. And even on the previous questions, on question 4 we had 121.3, we added it to itself. Alternatively, you could have multiplied it by 2 to get the same answer. But we'll stick with additions to make it as straightforward as possible. So let's add up the tenths. 8 plus 8 is 16, plus 8 is 24, plus 8 is 32. So write the 2 and carry the 3. Then we've got 4 zeros, so we'll just have 3 that we've carried. And then we've got 4 ones. Make sure the decimal places are lined up and check the units. The units are in meters. So our answer is going to be 43.2 meters around the perimeter of the square. Now moving on to the hard questions. Now you'll notice that all these shapes are also missing sides but none of them are as easy as rectangles and squares where the opposite sides are equal. So we've got to kind of think about what's going on with each shape. So firstly, we'll have a look at the triangle. Now, the key with this triangle is that we've got the double arc on the angles in the corners. And what that means is that it's an isosceles triangle and two of the sides are the same length. Now, if you look at the missing side, that joins up with the angle at the bottom. So the angle that matches it also will join up with the angle at the bottom. And it's a 32 centimetres. You'll notice that 32 centimetres is next to one of the labelled angles, and our missing side is next to one of the labelled angles. Now, if you look at the 38 centimetres, it's next to both of the labelled angles. So the 38 is a different length to the missing side. So always look at the number of angles it's touching. So that means we have got two 32 centimetre sides that we need to add up, and we've got one 38 centimetre side. Looking at the diagram, I've enclosed all sides of the triangle, so I know it's ready. I'm now ready to add up. So units first, 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 8 will give us 12, carry the 1. Then we've got with the tens, 3 plus 3 plus 3 is 9, plus the 1 we carried will give us 10. On the diagram, we're working in centimetres, so our answer is 102 centimetres. Question 2 is similar. Now, we've only got one clue this time, and we've got the 121 centimetres. And we can see that that number is next to two labelled angles. And a little access tells us these angles are all the same size. Now, that's next to two labelled angles. Now we'll see the missing side on the right is also next to two labelled angles, and the missing side on the left is also next to two labelled angles. That means that all three sides are the same size. So this is an equilateral triangle. So we've got 121, and we've got two more for all three sides. Adding these together, we've got 3 ones, we've got 3 twos, and we've got another 3 ones. So nice and easy adding these up, and we're working in centimetres. So the distance around the perimeter, around the edge, is 363 centimetres. Now just look at the difference between question 2 and question 1. Question 1 is isosceles. Only two sides are the same, so only two angles are labelled. But question 2 is equilateral. All three sides are the same, so all three sides are labelled. Moving on to question 3, we've got a trapezium. So we've got a 41 centimetres at the top. So let's write that down. We've got a 91 centimetres at the bottom. So let's write that down. Add it on. And then we've got the 71 centimetres on the left. So we can write that down and add it on. Now look at the shape, we haven't enclosed the entire shape. We've got a gap on the right. So we need to find out the length of the side that I haven't coloured in yet. Now there's a dash on that line. There's always going to be a clue to what the missing side is. And the dash means it's the same length as any other side with a dash. Now there is one other side with a dash and it's a 71. So that means that if the left is 71 with a dash, then the right with a dash is also 71. So we're going to add on another 71 centimetres. Now the shape is entirely enclosed, so now we can add this up. So we've got 4 ones is 4. Then for the tens, we've got 4 plus 9 is 13, plus 7 is 20, and plus 7 is 27, carrying over the 2, and our shape is in centimetres. So the perimeter of the trapezium is 274 centimetres. Moving on to question 4, we've got at the top a 56 centimetres, and this shape is a parallelogram. Now the 56 centimetres has got a single dash on it, so it's the same length as anything else with a single dash, and the bottom also has a single dash. So we know we've got two lots of 56. You could do 56 times 2, or you could add them up in a column. Then we've got on the right a 72 centimeters. Now that line has got 2 dashes on it. That means it's the same length as any other line with 2 dashes. And we can see that on the left we have a line with 2 dashes as well, so that will also be 72 centimeters. So we're going to add on 2 more 72 centimeters. The entire shape has been enclosed, it's been coloured in, so we know we can add up now. So starting with the unit, 6 plus 6 is 12, plus 2 is 14, plus 2 is 16. Looking at the tens, 5 plus 5 is 10, plus 7 is 17, plus another 7 is 24, plus another 1 is 25, carry the 2. And this is working in centimetres again. So the perimeter of the shape, the parallelogram, is 256 centimetres. Now, looking at the final shape, this is a kite. At the bottom, we've got 112 centimetres. That's got a single dash on it, so we know that on the other side, with a single dash, that will be the same length. Now, the difference between this and a parallelogram is in the parallelogram, the same length sides were opposite each other, where in a kite, the same length sides of 112 are adjacent to each other. They are next to each other. They're not opposite. Looking at the other clue, we've got an 84 centimeters. That's got 2 dashes, so it's the same length as anything else with 2 dashes. And adjacent to it, next to it, there's another line with 2 dashes. So that means they are both 84 centimeters and need adding on. So it's actually the same method as a rectangle or a parallelogram. It's just the pattern of where the same length sides is different. Occasionally you might be given a diagram without the symbols and you'll be told something about the name. So you might be told, this is the kite, and you'll be given 2 clues and there'll be no dashes to help you. You have to remember that in a kite, the adjacent sides are equal. So let's add these up. Units first. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 4 is 8, plus 4 is 12, carry the 1. They're the tens. 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 8 is 10, plus 8 is 18, plus the 1 we carried is 19, carry the 1. Then we've got 2 ones and the 1 we carried, which will give us 3. We're working in centimetres. So the perimeter around the kite is 392 centimetres. And with the head questions, we've actually covered 2 topics. We've covered how to find the perimeter of a shape, and we've covered special properties of quadrilaterals and triangles, such as isosceles, equilateral, kites, trapeziums, and parallelograms. That's assuming that you know your column addition off by heart, so you could even say you're doing 3 topics all at once with these questions.
Ouch! This is why in some videos I have unexplained scratches.